Hello, totally unexpected. Here's Dale Matthews at 7 o'clock with the Inside News. And joining me, just out of the blue, is Mike Jones. Hello, Mike. Where have you been?
I have been down by the river.
Okay, yes, I see that. That's good. All right,
my van is parked right over there.
That's an SNL reference. We're going to be talking. We're going to be talking tonight about imperial attitudes.
And about, I was wondering what we were going to talk about tonight. Imagine that.
Yeah, we're gonna let the commissioners have their say from the Wednesday weekly business session. And they'll get their moment in the sunshine. You know, if they get a moment in the sunshine, they're going to burst into flames. Anyway, so we're going to give them a chance to say what they think about the citizens who've been blathering for the last couple of days on our show about their opinions, and then they're going to set us straight. We already heard some of the things that Simon Hare had to say, and so now we're going to give Keith Hick a chance, but We've got some statistics and some information that's going to clear up some of the questions. I hope not. At any rate, we're going to give them a chance to speak. So, commissioners, speak.
The House Bill 3453 is mentioned several times. That's dead, long gone, finished, completed. It is a new iteration. That's true.
Now wait a minute.
What the heck's he talking about?
He's talking about House Bill 3453. Yeah. How it's dead, it's gone, it's over.
It's law. Is what it is.
So what is he trying to say to us here? So and then he starts into it's in a new iteration.
Confused. Yeah, I think he's confused with it.
I think that's a. But then he says it's a new iteration. So this is a bit disingenuous. Don't worry about House Bill 3453 because it's dead. It's called something else now. Now wait a minute. That's not exactly the same as dead. It's just it's got a new name. So what? Anyway,
and a rose by any other name smells as sweet.
That's correct. Well, this doesn't smell very sweet, but here's more from Keith Hick. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Go back to sleep.
Okay.
But as far as the governor imposing some tax at the behest of the commissioners or whatever, our charter is a bless it or condemn it. It is a document that demands that any tax increase in Josephine County must be voted by the people.
Oh.
Now, Mike, so just go right ahead, Mike. Just take it apart, Mike. Super easy. It's like playing T-ball or something. Come on.
Yes.
Well, go ahead, Mike.
I have it on fairly good authority that they have the authority. Number one, it calls for us matching what they pay. In other words, whatever we come up with, they will ultimately match. But this doesn't bar them from, sending us a bill in the form of a temporary levy, which they can, in this emergency situation, levy upon us without our approval. I believe that that's part of it.
And who is the state listening to? The state's not listening to the people.
No, they're listening
to our elected representatives. 62 votes, and she's our representative.
Right. So I'm not holding my breath here. They're going to do what they're going to do. I know that Cheryl wants. Listen, Keith may be a bumbling idiot on this. I don't really believe that he is. He appears to be acting like it, though, like he doesn't know what the hell's going on. Hello. You've been at all the meetings that we have been critiquing here. How is it that this is getting by you? Or do you just not believe that and you're, wanting to play dumb in the hopes that we will be lulled by your, whatever you have to say about this?
By his mollifying words. The thing is that Keith is always saying stuff. Don't worry about it. It's just a draft, D-R-A-F-T. Oh, don't worry about it. You're just getting all worked up about stuff. There's no need to get worked up. The only thing is this stuff has this tendency to turn into local law. And the
Yeah.
reason we're upset is because you guys have a history of doing that. We're not stupid. We could, oh, there's nothing here to see. It's like the thing from the movies where the policeman always says, move along, there's nothing to see. Yeah, well, then why are all these photographers over there snapping pictures?
Right.
There's
Yeah,
nothing
exactly.
to see. It's going to end up on the front page of the paper, and I'm standing right here. There's obviously something to see. Stop telling us there's nothing to see.
Yeah.
We bring it to you, and then you can see it.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, he appears to be confused. I don't know how long. Was there any cutting? Did you cut any of this up here?
I didn't cut any of it. This is the entire meeting in its entire. That was the whole meeting.
Oh, wow. Okay. No, from when he started, he starts with confusion. Like
Yes.
3453 is dead. Oh.
Oh, okay. I can explain how we got there. Simon had just ended. Now it's Keith's turn. And he goes, well, don't worry about 3453 because it's over. He's answering people. This is why I tried to say, I didn't say it very well at the beginning. The people have now spoken. This is not their protected time. This is the sort of the pre-protected time where people have just finished. They just sat down. Simon Hare goes first, and then Keith Heck. And Keith Heck is reacting to things that people have said in the audience about 3453.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just trying to tell us all, don't worry about it because there's nothing to worry. There's nothing to see here. Move along.
Yeah, you know what's odd, and this has nothing to do with 3453. They appear to have two protected times.
Yes, they do.
It's like right after you're done speaking. So I mean, if they're really, really mad about something, they can nail you with it right away. And then if they need more time to compose, the 500-word essay that they're gonna, speak at the end of the thing, then they wait till the end and then they hit you with that.
But you have your 3 minutes per week, and that's all. And sometimes not even that. Things would be different in a system that honors the citizens first because they're the boss, and that the commissioners don't get any more time than the citizens do. It's a business session. If you want to turn in a long blathery report, put it in writing and share it with the citizens before the meeting so everybody knows what you're talking about. And then the commissioner has something to say, and then the citizens get a chance to say something. And then the commissioners and the citizens. Oh, that sounds like it's long. No, everybody is restricted to 3 minutes per topic. Now, you got 10 minutes to say, as Cheryl often does. Well, then fine. You can put it in writing. This is a business session. And when you put the people first, the servants get the last bite. That's all. The citizens are served first, and then the servants get what's left over, not the other way around. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Hey, now we go back to Keith.
And there's no way that the property tax or any other such thing could be imposed unilaterally or behind the scenes or whatever.
That's just all wrong.
Happen, so. Mr. Sullivan, he keeps the second or third time you read this 2014 article before the marijuana law was passed in Oregon. That's when that article was written in 2014.
Okay.
Mr. Sullivan, if you
All right. Sorry. All right. What article is he talking about? They have said several times that the commissioners have never, in their history, they've never stood against marijuana. They've always been in favor of this wonderful cash crop. And they would never make some kind of rules that would curtail this business. Whether you think they should or shouldn't, this is now state law. So they've never done this. So Mark Seligman finally found, because you've been looking for it for a while, an article from 2014, the last time Cheryl was the chair. So it's only 2 chairs ago. Because she was a chair and then Keith and now back to Cheryl again because Simon, they didn't let him be the chair. And so he's quoting from, they're quotes where they're saying things like, we're not going to allow this to happen because it's against federal law. No, it doesn't matter what the state says because it's against federal law. We're not going to allow this and that and this and that with marijuana because the federal law says no. And federal law trumps everything, says Cheryl Walker. So he gets up and he reads this. Well, Keith doesn't like that because it's painting them during election time as if they're not fully backing a cash crop that's legal. and that they're siding with the federal government over local people and the state, which they did. So they don't like the fact that Mark Seligman brought that up, and it's kick Mark day.
Look at it, you'll find that to be true. And that changed the whole balance of everything. So to say that our economic hope for the future is dependent upon marijuana, we have just received word from the state as to the projected tax benefit that we ought to be able to receive from the state due to marijuana sales, and the biannual amount comes to about $25,000. It's over 2 years' time. So that's not even going to buy a decent vehicle for the sheriff's department. The situation on the Fielder Dam, I've written it down here. I've highlighted it, and I don't know these details that have come up even this evening as far as the toxicology studies that were done or whatever. I will ask about it, and I will make sure that I find out some answer, and you will know about it as well. But I can't make any comment on something I'm not really sure about. So, but I appreciate the information, and I will certainly check it out.
Oh, I will wait at the edge of my seat for Keith's report.
Well, the real question is, and what people kept asking is, are you going to hand over that check that's already been cut for $77,000 to this firm that looks like they were not on the up and up? He doesn't know. Doesn't know. They canceled the contract. And what it looks like at this moment, what it looks like is that guy that had the contract did not tell his subcontractors to stop, and that they kept working for about another 30 days. And by coincidence, the bill that's being turned in is for 30 days of work.
Well, I can tell you that as a general contractor, if I'm building a house and I just finished the foundation and, we're starting to put plumbing in underneath, and my plumbing guy, and I get fired from the job, my plumbing guy is quitting that day. Because I'm the guy paying my sub, so I understand that. I totally get that this is a government operation, and so yeah, but the Grants Pass Water Lab guy is not a government operation. You would think that he needed to tell the guy, hey, I got to quit here, and so do you.
Right. But if it's true, I have no idea. None of us know. And this is why we'd like to know if it's true that this 30 days of work was based on 30 days of work done after the contract was over, and there wasn't any way to get your $77,000 if you tell your subcontractor, we don't know. Then if you're dishonest, you're going to have the subcontractor keep working. It's going to mean $77,000 to you.
Yeah, that's a big risk to take, quite frankly.
Well, I guess fast, maybe it'll work,
Well, yeah, and he was banking on the incompetence of the BCC there, and
they almost did it. They were going to do it. I was in the room, in the little back room on that Thursday, where the finance director said, "Well, I've already cut the check." Well, of course he did. She's his liaison. They already cut the check. It was only Simon that said, well, wait a minute, we haven't gotten the test results yet. And her answer was, you're not going to understand them anyway.
Yeah, sure. Listen, I have some business I need to do with these people. I'll give them several sheets of paper written in Chinese and say, the bill for that is, $150,000.
Right.
I expect immediate payment.
We've been there. You've been there with us when this has almost worked a couple of times, hasn't it?
Yeah,
and it did work some of these times. Even the ones where they admitted, oh, well, just because we said it was 90 jobs for plaque on a rock doesn't mean it was 90. That's what you said. That's what it said in the agreement. So they've been caught red-handed several times. Come on now. 214 full-time family wage jobs for putting 2 ramps in a state park. And then they kept giving them money. They're still giving them money. All right, so here's the next little part.
I want to also address the 3453, the advisory question. 3453, when it first was written for the legislature a couple years ago, was very draconian. It was
Okay, this very draconian kind of thing. What is it that they're talking about? Here's the facts. And they've mentioned this in the little back room also. The draconian part about it was, the awful part is the state said, we're going to give you this money, but we're going to come in and we're going to go through your books. There's going to be a forensic investigation of everything that you spent. That's the draconian part. Can you imagine these guys wanting to put up with someone? Imagine if 2 new people get elected. The first thing they're going to do is look at the books. Whatever's left over of the books, because there's going to be midnight shredding sessions. They don't want you to look at their books. Are you kidding me? Just one area, just one. Money has gone out the door. What work have we gotten in return for that? Just for the grants, just only the grants and the loans. Are the loans being repaid? You think we're going to find out once we get in office? That information is going to be gone, buddy. All of these emails that we've asked for from Hillary Clinton and from this lady, all the emails that we've asked for, they said we can't possibly give you those emails because it would cost too much to go through them and pull out the ones we don't want you to see. You think all those aren't going to just simply disappear? There's going to be this huge sucking sound. All that information is going to be gone. That's the draconian part, because the state said this same exact thing happened with this thing about the money for the PEG fund. The cable TV guy said, you haven't been reporting about how much access you've given to your schools, to the Rose Club, to your citizens. We're giving you all this money. We're billing people for this. How much are you spending on that? Well, it's really none of your business. Well, we're going to need to know because your Congress is looking harder at us. Simon Hare was ready to pull the plug on the whole thing because they were asking for just a yearly report about how the money was being spent. Oh, no, we're not going to have anyone dictating to us. They're giving you all this money. No, I would rather say no to $1 million. Really?
Yeah.
And then the cable guys decided, they got cold feet. They decided to do it anyway. Oh, what a wonderful thing. We don't have to report. They're really not happy about reporting it. That's the draconian part. Draculian part. Go ahead.
terrible. It was going to require the governor to send people in here to take over departments, and we were going to have to pay back money that they put in here, so we were going to have to impose a tax. It was really very nasty. The bill was amended several times. What it comes down to now is that we have to match some kind of funds to it. If we were to do it, we would have to match funds to whatever the state were to give us. However, it's a long process to even get there. We would have to request and document that we have an emergency, and then the governor would have to declare such emergency existed.
Right.
And then he would have to consult with the Speaker of the House, the President of the Senate.
That's going to happen in one day.
Minority and majority leaders of both houses.
Boom, boom, it'll be done.
Because they would have to allocate the money. They don't have a fund.
It'll never happen. That's why we're pushing it.
Right, right. And she keeps having to remind herself, I hear this all the time because I'm in all the meetings. She keeps having to remind herself, if, because when this if this happens, and then you'll hear her the next day, if this happens,
yeah,
it's hard for them to say it the right way because they're trying to fool.
Yeah, they're trying. They probably are, sharing talking points on this. Here's how you say it, because you want to make it seem like Then wait a minute. Why are we being asked this question? Oh, it's nothing. Just answer the question.
That's exactly right. Exactly. They're just telling us they're trying to condition us with this plan.
It's just a fantasy. It could happen. It might not. We're just exercising our right to put a question on the ballot.
Well, Cyril says she knows what the answer is. Simon Harris says he knows what the answer is. So the obvious question is, why are you asking the question? Why are you doing this if you already know the answer?
You know the answer. Oh, please tell us what you think it is. We haven't heard him say that.
Oh, just wait. This is great. Okay.
Money to Curry and Josephine County. So they're going to have to take it from somewhere if that's what they were going to do.
From your
pocket. So they have a lot of hurdles to get over before they would even consider it.
Yes.
That being said, some people have said, why are you putting it on the ballot? It's not going to pass. We don't know that. because I get about as many calls wanting us to do that as calls that don't want us to do it.
Oh boy, is this a bunch of BS? Oh my gosh. This is where I got this still. From her with this attitude. Oh, we don't have any idea. Well, I'm getting just as many. Remember all the calls that she and all the people that were begging her for no voters pamphlet? And when there was a voters pamphlet, it was like 40-1 or something against her ordinances. It was a little less than that, but it was a lot. And she says, we can't have people would put their opinion in there and they'd be saying, well, they think you should vote. Yeah, that's a voters pamphlet. Well, I'm being begged by people, please, no voters pamphlet.
Yeah,
that's her legacy forever.
Yeah.
That's Keith too. Keith was also saying that.
No one should ever believe Cheryl Walker when she's telling you what her constituents are telling her, or what she's reading off of a piece of paper. You can't trust her to tell you the truth about that. So
she read from a piece of paper. The law says this, and she's reading it, and she even said what area to find it. So we went and looked. Of course we did. That's what we do. You asked us to do. That's what we did. And that's not what it said. It didn't even say anything close to that. I Googled the words, and there were only 2 words in the whole sentences both sentences she said, of and thee are the only 2 words that matched in everything that she said. International Google could not find anything close to that. And it was at the place that she talked about, and it was on that subject, but it didn't say, you have to do this. It wasn't even close. Don't believe her, even when she's reading from a piece of paper.
So we can't make a judgment just by the people who pick up the phone and call and tell us or send us an email. We're going to ask the voters to tell us. Those are the ones that actually make a mark on a ballot and put it in the ballot box, and it gets counted. So that way we will know if the people here say absolutely not, we won't even consider it.
You have before.
If they resoundingly say, oh yeah, we want you to do it, we would have to really consider.
We would have to pull the trigger that we're poised, waiting for the answer to justify the action, is what they're doing.
But they would never do something that the people don't want, Mike. That 80%. Oh, that was just an accident.
Listen, I cannot wait to see the verbiage of this question. This is going to tell us all exactly. Of course, it's going to be a push poll. We all know that that's how these things go. They're going to ask you the question specifically in a way that allows for the answer to be X. That's how they do it.
Well, that's the last clip on here, which I hope that we get to, because Simon has suggested a change to it because part of the question itself is against the charter. So they can't do that. So I've got the charter section for you as well. And and we're going to get to that. Here we go.
Would be willing to do that. So it's whatever the will of the people is.
Yes.
Question. What do the people of Josephine County want us to do?
They want you to lead.
I want to.
I think I know how it's going to come out.
Yes, you do.
But we don't know that because of the calls and emails that we get. So.
Okay. All right. Because of the calls and the emails that we get. That's why we don't know. She has no credibility, Mike.
You know what? I think we have to do this just to tweak them big time. When the question comes out, and the question has to be announced by the time isn't it the same deadline for announcing for candidacy for the, say, March 21st or something?
Coming up right away. It's coming up right away. Yeah.
Right. So I say that we create a survey like one of our other surveys, and we just promulgate it all over Facebook and email it out to people with the exact same question.
Right.
And just, take our reading of it ahead of time.
Yeah, but these are just a few people and 2 disgruntled citizens, and they don't count for anything because they're not even media when you think about it. Yeah, they're not even accepted by us as media. And so it just doesn't matter.
Listen, you know what? When you put it out all over Facebook, you don't know who's going to answer and what their answers are going to be. It's, not controlled by me. I'm not. Whenever we do those surveys, we don't edit the result. I don't have time for that.
No.
There's
it sounds like it's highly edited, Mike. Yeah, and also you go in and you insert words in people's mouths. I hate it when you do that.
Well, we could have variations on the question too, which might be fun depending on what the question is.
They're still working on it. And what are they working on? What they're working on is trying to fine tune what the little details are going to be for implementation of this. They're not just simply asking you, how would you like this to happen? They're saying, well, now, if you got this much money back, and then this happened, and then put that money in, and this is the plan. It's just a publicity event.
Well, and what I think we could easily do is ask the same question with a small variation, just, 2 surveys a week apart to show how different your responses can be on the basis of how you ask the question. That'd be another interesting plan. If you have any other devious little plans like that, send them to us at badcounty@cpros.com.
Well, not just the devious plans, but maybe the ones that aren't so devious. You don't have to do like Mike does.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Back to Cheryl. Cheryl, you have more to say? I think she does.
We don't know. That's why we ask.
Yes. That's
that's why. Okay.
Other issue. I know you've addressed some of the others, and I'm not going to belabor some of those.
Yes, you are.
There was a comment about we don't have increasing crime. I've seen the statistics from the state police, and if you put them on a graph, they're just rising.
Okay. All right. Now you did it. Here's the graph. Ready?
Yes.
Does that look? This is from the Oregon State Police. And the number way over on the left is 2004. And the number way over on the right is 2014. Now, does it look to you, she just did a 45-degree angle there. Does it look to you, based on this, that the numbers are just going 45 degrees? They're just off the chart.
Yeah, it's not true. You see on the city numbers, you see even the city numbers are down over time. There have been slight blips over some of the previous years in property crime and stuff like that, but generally, by and large, crime is down.
Okay, everybody. Where was full funding? What they call full funding? Where was it? That was over on the left side.
Yeah, that's right.
And then they said, well, we still had full funding, whatever that means, in 2006 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 and 11 and 12. We had, and 12 was when it hit us. Well, isn't this interesting? These are numbers. This isn't just our numbers. This is from the Oregon State Police.
Yes.
When this huge crisis happened, you remember where the sheriff let all kinds of people out of, and the cameras just happened to be in exactly the right place to see these grinning people running out of jail. That was in the third from the last, the third from the right. Okay.
Yeah.
Then
and crime has gone down.
Well, but Cheryl says, no, it's gone up. It's gone up, up, up during her term. No, it hasn't. It's gone down, down, down. Cheryl, why are you saying it's going up, up, up?
Hey, Dale, this is because she's doing such a great job. That's why crime's coming down. See? It's all in how you spin it.
It makes it seem as if she's a liar. It makes it seem as if the people that want the levy are just liars. Is there another way to put this? I mean, you just saw her say, well, it's going up, it's going up. No, it's not. That's according to the Oregon State Police. She's quoting them, the same source that we have. We're putting up the stats. Does she put up the stats? No, she holds up her hand. We're put up the stats for you. Don't even count on us. Count on the OSP.
Perhaps she can bring next week and make it a part of the record, so that it will be posted on their website with their agenda documents and stuff of that nature, and show us this rising crime rate.
We've asked her to do this in the past. She said at one point in the past, when Sandy Castanelli was a commissioner, and she was handing out money to her friends. So I got up and I said, who told you that she was handing out money to her friends? Because she wasn't. Who told you that? Who told you that? I went up there 3 weeks in a row. Who told you that? No, I just got one question. Just one question. Who told you that? She never, ever, she had this attitude. She would never answer that question. We've asked her, what was on that piece of paper? Why don't you show us that piece of paper? You know that we can ask for that piece of paper through the Freedom of Information Act. We can ask for the piece of paper you were reading from. I'd like to see what was on there. Was it a cake recipe? What was on that piece of paper? It wasn't what she read. That's not from, we've asked many times, can we get this piece? And illegally, they've refused to give it to us. When Keith Heck said, we've already spent $5,000 worth of taxpayer money on protecting ourselves from the scurrilous remarks, by Dale Matthews and Sandy Casanelli, saying of the Oregon Government Ethics Commission, we spent $5,000. So I went down the next day and I said, I would like to get those figures. They said, well, that's going to take a while. I said, well, he just said it, so it shouldn't take very long. You have 5 business days because that's the law. After 5 business days, right at the very last moment, they indicated they have no records that show that.
Yeah, of course not.
This is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with facts and figures. And I had my doubts. I thought crime was going up too. I did. But once we get it from OSP, it turns out that's not at all true. But she's still saying it. All right, go ahead. Dig your hole deeper.
Terribly. So the fact that we say we don't have crime is the fact that there's nobody to follow up on reports, and a lot of people don't report anymore. And there are crimes that have been committed. I've talked to people that have had crimes committed at their properties. And early on, when we first had cutbacks, I had some thefts at my own property. I filed my report.
That's worth looking into.
Filed it so I could get a report to send to my insurance company. So it's occurring out there, but it's not going on any reports locally. The state police are the only ones that have the data.
And they gave it to us.
Since he took office, keep track of the crimes that he's able to handle.
Mike?
Cheryl, all you have to do is watch the show and you'll know what not to be saying. Saying stuff like this. We give you the numbers. These are direct from the OSP. We're not manipulating this stuff at all. We're not lying to you about it. I mean, it would be pretty stupid for us to nuke our credibility by telling you a bunch of lies when then you could just go to the website. By the way, all of this information that we're giving you, you can go verify it yourself. The OSP, these numbers are available. You can look them up. So for her to be saying stuff like this is really dumb. I'm really surprised that the other side, I hate to refer to them as that, but the other side hasn't even developed a strategy for dealing with us. And we have been very effective. I believe we have been very effective in countering them. But
the sheriff has a strategy. The sheriff's strategy is he stopped talking to us as soon as these charts and graphs came out. He stopped. He wouldn't talk with us anymore. And Wally Hicks' strategy was he stopped talking to us. That's it.
Yeah, it doesn't stop us from getting the numbers, though.
From the OSP, no. It's just right there.
And the people that have been watching and listening to us from before, they still do. So you haven't addressed this issue. And, I mean, if you're, unfortunately, I guess they really don't have a plan to address the truth about what's going on.
That would be helpful if they had a real plan.
Well, yeah, okay. And I guess that you could just go, well, we're gonna lie about it, but we've been exposing all of that too. So I imagine this is getting very tiring. I mean, they don't want to start another campaign just to have us punch a whole bunch of holes in it.
It's easy to do. And whose credibility is taking a nosedive and whose is increasing?
Yeah.
We have more people. I mentioned this many times. We've got many times more people watching this show than watch the entire weekly business session.
Yeah.
So it's saying this in this little room in front of these people with a couple dozen people watching it, this is not helping. And since their credibility is so low right now, their credibility is down around their ankles. What is she doing? This is not helping.
Yeah. Not good.
But with about 5 or 6 deputies, you can't handle very many. So it's not the crime's not happening. The crime is happening. Okay. Fortunately, one of the major crimes that took place, arrests
Another
that took
anecdote.
place last week. It was Thursday, I believe. It was actually an individual that was wanted on federal charges, and the state police came into the person was in the county, and the state police notified our authorities, came into the county with the assistance of the sheriff and the city and the federal officers.
That's a lot of police.
Because it was federal crimes, he was one on federal warrants, and I can repeat this because it was said publicly at another meeting.
Oh,
The person had 2 pounds of heroin, $28,000, and 3 guns, and he had federal warrants. That's the kind of people that are staying here. That's
And
what we
also
do.
you guys, they're breaking the law.
And
Now, all right. Now, wait a minute. What is this thing about cracking down on blue-collar crime and not white-collar crime?
this is what she just said is just complete horsepucky. You know, yes, they choose here all of the people who have drugs and money and guns and stuff. They're all coming here. And they're all hanging out here. It's because they've heard through the grapevine, this is the place to go.
That's what she said. That's what Keith has said. They're coming here. They're coming here because this is a safe refuge for them. And you know, and if we had 100 more officers, why that wouldn't happen.
Okay.
Murders would drop off the chart because if you've got police everywhere, no one's going to murder each other in a writ of fellis jage, as Inspector Clouseau would say. Nobody's going to do that because they're going to be afraid of the law.
Right.
so if we don't think that crime isn't here or couldn't happen here, our murder rate is up higher than it's ever been
Oh,
over this
come
last.
on.
That's not true.
And, so crime has increased.
Well, listen.
It's not true, Mike. It's not true. Just a second. Simon, shut up. Okay, it's just not true.
Yeah, but I mean, even if it was, a greater let's say, okay, if you had double the amount of funding that you have now, you would still have less than what you had during full funding. How is that going to determine or deter some guy in a rage killing somebody?
That's right.
Do crimes of passion still happen, or are they completely kiboshed by the presence of other sheriff? Listen, it's still going to take them 40 minutes to get to your house in most cases out in the county, even if they had twice as many deputies. Listen, when they had full funding, people in my neighborhood, we don't see anybody for the longest time. So somebody out
forever.
here,
Right.
yeah, right. Somebody out here who wants to kill somebody is not deterred by the fact that the sheriff may be coming.
Do you remember that guy that either killed or really damaged another guy because he picked up a piece of concrete, big piece of a slab, and he hit the guy over the head with it? Now, will he be thinking, we've got increased police presence, so, I ought to calm down?
Yes, right.
He's not.
No, it
he's
doesn't-
not after the guy because he's after the guy because they're both crazy. That's why.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. And you know what? We should be concerned because last year when we were talking to the sheriff, he brought up those same things and tried to gin up fear and listen, he's a cop. Who knows better than anybody that they don't have any effect on somebody's decision to murder somebody? A cop knows that better than anybody. And yet he would try to use that to manipulate us, to scare people into being ready for the next levy coming down the pipe.
Well, we said to him also, you remember we said to him, and you saw it on tape, all of you saw this, you're going to, I think, increase your credibility locally if you give out the stats. And he just laughed at us.
Yeah.
Now, what are the stats again? Here they are. This is what the Oregon State Police said. We didn't ask them to do. We didn't pay them, right? We just asked, what are Josephine County numbers for the last decade? So this is 2004, full funding all the way through all the rest of those full funding years. Only these last 2 years has there been a crisis in where the numbers have been going through the roof. They're not going through the roof. So what does that tell you? Well, there's not enough people to report it. You mean to tell me that she just said she reported to her insurance office? So the Oregon State Police also are confirming that the numbers are down. Maybe they don't like that. I would hope they would like the fact that the numbers are down, but we're not in a unique thing. And you remember the chart that we put up where we saw county by county, because Cheryl Walker has said, and Keith Heck has confirmed, that we're using an inordinate part why this county is using more OSP resources than any other county by far. And then it turned out when you looked at the actual chart, we were like a tiny little part, just a tiny little part of this, and other counties, bigger and smaller, were a lot more. We were third from the end on how much. So this on how much is being used of the OSP. It's a complete falsehood. It's a complete falsehood according to the OSP. They're not backing up Cheryl's version. Remember when she said to the finance infrastructure guys, why the school board is fully on board with this project out in the North Valley. School board says, no, we're not. Well, she was telling them this, that they were fully on board. It was just a complete fabrication. Another word for lie. It was just a complete lie. Well, she stopped saying that after a while, but she's got no problem saying something and bringing another organization in. No problem. Oregon State Police, no problem. What are they going to do? Arrest her? What's going to happen to her? She's going to be recalled? Doesn't look like it. Even Simon Hare, going to be recalled? No. Thanks to Mark Kelsey? No. Okay. So what do they care? Oh, well, don't worry. Nothing bad can happen. Why? The state can't come in here and do anything. Ha ha. Yes. These guys are telling the governor that this is a lawless area and that you're taking your life in your hands, and it's an emergency. No, it's not. Even though it seems like it ought to be.
Here's that graph that you were talking about. This is OSP officers per 1,000 population. And
look at the little red thing way over to the left.
Yeah, that's us.
That's where we actually are.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
And so, I mean, we're not even getting a distribution, per 1,000 as high as many of these other counties are. And so you can't go with that. So I'm very interested to see how they're going to rationalize, because she did mention during that little thing that they have to, rationalize somehow doing this, and that there is an emergency. They have to, they have to have the criteria for it. So, I don't know what reports she has been getting from the OSP. I have to speculate that perhaps maybe that's a lie, just like what she was reading off the paper that one time is a lie.
Well, because we have the numbers from the OSP, how can it be anything different than the numbers from the OSP? We didn't ask for them specially for us. These are the numbers they're putting out there. How is she going to prove to the governor that this is an emergency? She's going to have the sheriff will say it's an emergency. Keith Heck will say it's an emergency. Simon Hare will say it's an emergency. The entire Rotary Club is going to say it's an emergency. Right. Where are your statistics? Well, we don't have any, but as the sheriff said, well, you've got a gut feeling.
She may not have thought this out that far ahead, to think, well, we're going to have to, and it may well be that the governor's office is not concerned with them rationalizing it, that they just go, no, all you have to do is declare. I'd really like to know more about what the requirements of the commissioners are for making such a judgment. Yeah.
We're not going to hear that.
Well, yeah, but certainly there has to be a document that they receive that here's your 3453 briefing, and this is what you got to do in order to make this happen. That has to be out there.
Now we're going to hear what they said in the little back room the very next day after that meeting, where Simon is asking to take the wording of the ballot question and change it so, one, it won't be illegal, and two, to make it an even better sales job on the public. Listen to this. It's the best audio I could get out of the room. The very best audio. Sorry, it's not quite as good as the ambassador.
it probably is pertinent. Nothing terribly major, although the question was reworded. It isn't on our agenda to discuss this. I thought in preparation for Tuesday's general discussion on the ballot that I would present you with a proposed revision. Before I hand it out, the question right now, in your opinion, should Joseph County enter into an agreement with the state for public safety services? In our charter specifically, I think it's in section 21, prohibits the county from outsourcing public services.
Now, section 21, Mike and I know about the charter because we did a whole long series about the charter, educating you about that. Mm-hmm. Section 21 is one he's thinking about because the very next section is recall, right? Mm-hmm. Section 21 has nothing to do with this question. The question has to do with what it says here. This is chapter 2, powers, section 7, where powers are vested. The legislative power of the county is vested in and is exercisable only by the Board of County Commissioners. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so what does that have to do with anything? What that has to do with things is they cannot, according to our charter, they cannot hand over power over our county to the governor and to the state legislature because our charter says no. Now, as Wally Hicks says, don't think about the charter because why would you do that? But according to our charter, it's not okay to do that. So what they were about to do is they're not worried about what's going to happen with the charter because that'll just be amended because of some emergency edict why everyone has to wear a purple hat today. Okay, whatever the edict is from above, and which they'll back up because they're going to sell us out. That's my opinion. They're going to sell us out, especially if they don't make it through the primary. They have nothing left to lose. Why would they bother? They don't have a legacy to worry about anymore because that's over.
But it seems to me during that we just heard what the question was, and that, if I'm recalling correctly, is yes, should we enter into an agreement with the state to provide law enforcement services? Is that right? Roughly
that's
speaking? Correct. Now, phrased that way, people will go, "Of course," because you didn't mention in there me getting a bill.
That's right.
So we already know what the answer they want is. And it's what she has said before that, oh, yes, we want that.
Look, Mike, 40% of the people said yes. And so, wow, we really got to listen to them. Why? 40%. It's not just this small group of dissidents.
No, you're right. You're right. This does not have to win per se, because this is not a contest of any sort. It's a question. And then when they determine that a sufficient number of people have answered the question in the affirmative, then they'll go, yeah, it's time for us to do what we have to do here.
And even if this thing goes down by 95%, okay, even if it did, this is the opening volley. This is the introduction. How would you like to go out with me and have dinner and see a movie and then go to bed? Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Okay, so I'll ask you again in another couple of months. How would you like to blah, 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 blah. And after a while, you get, look at their philosophy. What have they been doing with the levies? They keep asking the same thing over and over and over again. Oh, slight change. Oh, this is 4. This is this. This is blue. That's green. But it's the same thing over and over and over again. That's what they do. And so if this doesn't work, no problem. It'll happen next time or the next time or the next time. Because it's an emergency, you see. The emergency that's not an emergency. That's why when the sheriff was there in this little back room with them before, he was asking for more fuel-efficient vehicles. Was he asking for more patrolmen? Where they have the money? Was he asking for that $135,000 they could have let go that they were going to put into water? No. He was asking for more fuel-efficient vehicles, which is already in his budget. Where's the emergency?
We're privatizing them without a vote of the people. What we're proposing to do is not to outsource public safety services to the state. It is for the state to provide resources to the county in the event of a criminal justice.
I was going to say that statement doesn't comport with the law.
It doesn't. So I rewrote it So what I said is, this is not to outsource a public function which would require a vote of the people. This is to petition the state to provide resources to the county in the event of a criminal justice system.
So it would not require a vote of the people. And he's not asking them, he's telling them. They're yeah. Well, this is certainly within the law. Why?
Yeah.
They've been telling us that the governor would come down here and take over. Remember the warnings they gave us? The governor will come down here and take over. You don't want the governor to come and take over. Now they're saying, oh, the governor will come down here, but not take over. That's right. The governor will give us money for free. Isn't that great?
Yeah. And that's exactly it, is that the implication here by this question is that we're going to get this money for free, and there are no strings attached.
And the best part to them is no investigations, no financial investigations. They're not going to be looking into Arthur O'Hare and the budget. No, that's now no longer part of the draconian restrictions. Woohoo! Yeah.
Well, you know what? We'll get a little. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
We'll get a little deeper into parsing this law and what rights and what powers both the board and the state have over us if they enact this. And I suspect that whatever you believe it is now, it's much worse than that.
Isn't it usually? I know we're so negative, but I mean, we've just come to the point where we know that they're lying to us. We know that they are. Look, one more little clip, okay? Just one more little one. When they had this meeting on Thursday at 1:30, it was very unusual, and that Cheryl came up with the idea that she wants goal-setting sessions. They're required by the charter to have a 5-year goal. They're not going to do that, but they're not going to break the charter. Come on, but she wants a 3-year goal, which will be a couple of years after she's gone. But that's what she wants. And Simon didn't even know it was going to happen. So, but he came in with some ideas of what he may wish to see in the upcoming years, not with the departments, but just general goals. And of course, Cheryl had a bunch of them too. So did Keith. But I was surprised. He had 2 times to say what his number one goal of all time would be. So just be patient with me for a second. What would you think if you were Keith Heck, or if you were a current county commissioner with your reputation in tatters? Really, it is. With some people, it'll never be. Oh, she's the best of all. Yeah, right. Okay, so if you had a choice of what you would do, you might choose better serve the people. Top priority. Nope. Fully fund law enforcement. This is not Keith's number one priority. It's not. Think about the children. Why we need to get the money out there for the juvenile shelter. Nope. Economic development. Nope. Keep government off your back. Are you kidding me? Nope. What is Keith's number one priority over everything else in the universe for the county commissioners? Here it is.
My biggest desire is to see the continuing intra-BCC relationships. That even though we might have different ideas or different directions or different goals or whatever it might be, that we continue to be able to work together in a spirit of goodwill and relationship and that kind of thing, that maybe we don't disagree with one another. So just to have a good atmosphere with all. So to me, that's the most important one. If that's obtained, then there's nothing we can't agree on to develop or to work on, that kind of thing.
Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya.
I thought, this can't be right. The first time he said this, I thought, no, give him another chance. That can't be his number one priority, is that they're all going to be happy with each other. What about the public? What about law enforcement? What about all the crises? What about the emergency? My fondest wish is that we can put an end to this emergency. But he said it when they gave him another chance. He said it again. It's his number one priority is that they all get along with each other. Mm. Doesn't that sound like the city council? We're all very proud of each other. Yeah, well, we did this as a public service, this grants pass sales tax. And so we're all you've done a real good job. Yeah, I'm real proud of you too. Really? That's their number one priority in this world, is that they lock ranks against us. That's my interpretation. Mike, you have a different interpretation of that, bud?
I have no other interpretation.
Well, if that's it and Mike's out of interpretations, this show is over.